I know I have a lot of videos to catch up on from the comments, so this one comes from John. So I made a video explaining the best way to create images is based on the sound of the word. John wanted me to memorize 10 words doing this, using this method. So I have 10 words right here, and usually when I memorize words, I use whatever comes to my mind. But focusing on one specific way to create images is a little bit harder because my mind might want to go in this other direction. I'm like, no, 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 come back, sound based only. All right, so let's get to it. 5 locations, 2 words per locations. Let's go. So the first word is detective. So it's at this door. So detective, you might have heard of it, Detective Pikachu. So I picture Detective Pikachu at this door. Now we have public. So public doesn't really have an image attached to it, right? Or at least for me. So public, well, the first word, pub. So it sounds like it. Pub, public. It's part of the word. And so at this door with Pikachu, I see him at this little pub next to the door drinking some beer. All right? So boom. I memorized public by making it into pub, which is just fine. I don't have to have an image that is completely fits the whole word, so the lick part. If I wanted to, I could have Detective Pikachu at this pub and he's getting lick. Okay? It's whatever you want. Let's move on. Okay. Productive. So the next location is like this little bench thing. So productive. So I think of a pro athlete. So maybe it's a football player. Well, an American. I'm not sure where you're watching this from, so it could be soccer for you. So I see this American football player. Then ductive. Duct tape, right? So maybe he's playing with this duct tape and he's getting wrapped in all this duct tape. Prosecute. Okay, I'll be honest, the first thing that came to my mind was prostitute. Okay? So maybe at this bench, this pro athlete that was covered in duct tape, maybe this prostitute was taping the pro athlete to the bench with duct tape, okay? That's what we're going with. Let's just move on. Don't think about it, okay? Go on. The next location is a bookcase. Bound, okay? Then we have evening. Bound. So think of pound. So maybe this bookcase opens up and there's all these dogs, like in a pound, right? Bound, pound. Evening, okay, evening. See, I'm looking at the word and I want to use a spelling base image, but evening. Okay, I have an aunt named Eve, okay? And so maybe I see my aunt in this bookcase pound and she's petting all these dogs, okay? So I just used the Eve part. If you need the ning, you do spring. So maybe my aunt's in there tossing all these springs at the dog. All right? So this was a little bit harder when trying to create the image based off sound. I would have gone a different way, but I found something. It took a little bit, but I found it. Okay, rapid, and then intermittent. Okay, so the next location is this bedroom. Rapid, I think of rapids. So, that's like a whole bunch of like water just flowing really fast, like a river type thing. So that's my picture going through the bed. Now here we go, intermittent. So okay, so the first part I kind of whatever. So tent, mitten. Okay, or you can think of a baseball mitt and then a tent. So right here, my mind's seeing mitten. Okay, but mitten. So I can see this mitt. And this tent is in the mint going down the rapids screaming its head off. All right? See, there's so many ways to kind of attack this, but at the end of the day, it's whatever's going to work for you. Okay? Because you can just do the tent. Just have a tent, the rapids, and there's this tent screaming in the rapids, and that's it. But maybe you need the more of it in order to remember the spelling correctly, right? If you have to spell it. Or you want to pronounce it more exact. So it's all up to you on how much you want to break it down. Now we got spiritual, and the last location is a table. So spiritual, I see spirits coming out of the table. So they kind of look like white ghost things. I guess white, blue kind of aura things flying from the table. All right, spiritual. Obtainable. Ooh, obtainable. Tain. So right here, train. And for me, I would just roll with that. Obtainable, train. Trainable, you could do that. So I see this train, and this train is just trying to smack all these spirits out of the sky. And boom, there you go. So I just memorized these 10 words using sound-based images. Now, some of them were a little bit easier than others, but the great thing about this list was most of them were abstract nouns and words, right? So you can't really picture them. Not most of them were concrete. You know, concrete's like dog. You know what a dog is. Table. You know what a table is. Picture. It could be picture frame, right? So there's already an attached image. These ones were all just kind of out there. So this should go recap. I see Detective Pikachu at this pub at the door. Maybe he's getting licked. Moving on. And then we have this pro athlete who's getting duct taped to this bench by a prostitute. Moving on. And then we have this pound in this bookcase, and my Aunt Eve is tossing a whole bunch of springs at them. Okay, and then we have these rapids, and it's important to know, in my mind, I know it's rapid, but in my head, I'm saying rapids, right? So, just a note there. And then we have this mitt, and this tent in the mitt going down the rapid, screaming for intermittent. And then spiritual, we have all these spirits coming from this table, and this train is smacking the spirits out. Alright. So, to recall that, yeah, I had to spend some time. Don't worry. So, okay. So, we're at the door. Oh, yeah. And I see Detective Pikachu. And then I see him at a pub getting licked. Public, right? And then I have a athlete getting duct taped to a bench by a prostitute. Getting duct taped by a prostitute, and the word was prosecute. Okay, I was like, wait, what word am I spelling? Then we have this pound, and then we have my Aunt Eve, Austin Springs, evening. Then we have rapids, but oops, it's just a rapid. Then we have a mitt going down screaming. And then we have spiritual. Then we have spirits coming up. And a train smacking them. Obtainable. Boom! And there we go. And so, saying it all out loud, what I'm doing, being forced to use only sound-based images made it a lot harder to memorize and come up with some things, as you could tell for some of these words. But it's the best way because you're able to get the word pretty much exactly on the spot because it sounds so similar to it. You know, Eve, tossing springs. Eve, spring, evening. Okay, got it. You know, pound or bound, pound, you know, sounds so similar, so it's so easy to do it. But that's how I would memorize words or anything where I want to make sure that the images sound as close as possible to the words. So there you go, John. Hopefully everyone else enjoys this video to kind of see what goes on in my head. Yes, I made a video, I know, explain what goes on in my head when I'm memorizing words, but this one was specifically for sound-based images. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and I'll see you next time.